Families of victims of the Boksburg blast are demanding more information on the gas tanker explosion. Gauteng government today held a memorial service for the 34 people who died. The National Prosecuting Authority has dropped charges against the tanker driver due to lack of evidence. eNCA's Pule, letshwiti-Jones is following the story for us, and he joins us now. Pule, thanks so much. You were at the memorial, and as that memorial had gone ahead, there was news that that death toll had sadly risen to 34. Give us a sense of the atmosphere, because you've got people grieving the loss of loved ones, but also have so many unanswered questions at this time.
Yeah, definitely. You basically had, families there reeling from this tragic incident. But at the very same time, they want answers. Like you're saying, this comes just a few days after we learned that the driver allegedly, involved in this matter was, of course, what one would call let loose, or released rather, by the eNCA due to insufficient evidence. And that, of course, caused a bit of, questions and anger and frustrations as well, to say what's going on here. But at the very same time, we get a sense that the Minister of Health says that everything is still quite under control. They are giving counselling to the families, and they try and by all means support the aggrieved families. And we also now understand that the OR Tambo Memorial Hospital is in the process and journey of repairing some of the hospital units and sections that, of course, are badly damaged. We also have understood that this may cost something to the tune of about 18 million. So that's a lot of money. But at the very same time, we get a sense that the health workers who were affected by this badly traumatic experience are still working there. And Nahawu had, of course, come out to say that they wanted these workers to be, relieved of their duties for now until they can recover. But we get a sense that the Department of Health, and of course in Gauteng, the health department says that they're trying to work together with these health workers and ensure that the hospital does recover and ensure that they continue to work under good circumstances. But we also got a sense that during this explosion, there were those from the Malawian diaspora as well as the Zimbabwean diaspora, and we saw that there were also international delegates, of course, representing some of the SADC countries who were there. And we got to speak to one of them who said that now they're in the process of working with the South African government in terms of repatriating some of the bodies to Malawi as well. Let's take a listen to what they had to say.
To offer support to the South African government, but as well we have lost 4 Malawians, one of whom is a pregnant woman who also lost a life during this tragedy. So we are here to also do the remembrance for the deceased from Malawi.
How's the family?
The family, they're still devastated because there are 2 families. In one family, we lost 3 relations, and the other family only 1 relation. So they're really devastated, and they're looking forward to the support of both governments, Malawi as well as South Africa.
Now, we know those kinds of processes that the delegate was talking about, they're so difficult at any time of year, let alone, this time of flux during Christmas and New Year. What have we heard from the families of those who have lost loved ones, Pule?
Before I get there, you are quite right to say during this festive season, this busy time of the year, things may be a bit slow, because I got a sense when I was speaking to him that it's a lot of engagements that are taking place to say what happens next year, documentation, was this person in the country legally or illegally not, all of that vetting process has to go in. And, everyone's just frustrated, and everyone is dealing with this thing, trying to work together and see how they can help each other. But we also get a sense from the family representatives. I couldn't get the opportunity to speak to some of the families because they really didn't want to speak to the media. I mean, they're going through this tough time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And one of the family representatives was of the view that there has to be a lot of evidence to ensure that there's accountability, and also questioned, why make an arrest if you're not ready to present sufficient evidence? So they want the law enforcement agencies to come into play. They want the municipality to come into play to say what had happened. If it's a bridge, why are there no road signs? So there's just so many questions that are unanswered. And you get a sense that all they just want is justice, so that they can recover, they can find closure, and finally try to move on from this tragic incident. Let's just take a listen to what they had to say.
Boksburg are in pain, because at this moment, how can they say there's no evidence? We are at a memorial service here. There are bodies there. It is raised now to 34. People are dying every day, but still they are saying there's no evidence. What evidence do they want? Mr. Panyasa was here, the premier was here. He came to the family members. The family members don't only want comfort, my brother. They need more than that. To go to the family and just to comfort them, that's not going to help at all. Some of the family members are very unhappy. The driver has been released. I mean, he's the truck driver. You could have seen from a distance that no, this truck is too high. It won't pass there. Even on the bridge, you can see there's no signs on the bridge. Who's to be blamed? If there are no signs on the bridge, who's giving these guys these tenders? It's the government. They were supposed to put signs on the bridge. The truck driver can see from a distance that no, he won't be able to go over the bridge, but he forced his way. Now he's out, there's no evidence, but we are sitting with dead bodies. Why are we here today at the memorial if there's no evidence? It doesn't make sense at all.
Gosh, Pule, still so many unanswered questions. So there's grief, there's anger, there's frustration, and you cannot, you know, hold it against people.
Masal, there's so many things that are unanswered. And honestly, I think the report that will come out through these investigations will determine what actually happened. I mean, we're seeing on social media the allegations of, you know, the events that took place of the driver, where he drove to one particular destination to another, where he got lost, and
He
then
didn't follow the route that he was supposed to go, and he tried to make a plan.
You know, he tried to see if the truck will fit or not, tried to warn people to run away. Those will form part of the investigation. And finally, as well, we're now getting, we hear calls of people calling for an inquiry into this whole matter, and seeing what will happen. But Masal, quickly, before we go, this goes back to the issue of trucks on the road.
I was going to say the same thing. I've just been on the long road from Cape Town to Johannesburg, and after doing that road for many years, you cannot help but notice a huge increase in the number of big trucks on the road, and we all know why that is.
I mean, you see trucks going into residential areas as well, and you'd remember what happened just a few months ago in Pongola, KZN, where some of those kids lost their lives. So honestly, this is a matter that urgently needs to be attended to by those who are leading some of these various departments, particularly the transport department as well at national level. Because
the repercussions are massive, and indeed, you know, you're talking about loss of lives. Thank you so much, Pule letshwiti-Jones, with the very latest on that story that really has captured the imagination and the grief of South Africans across the country.